The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome. This is Susan Coleman, and I'm here to welcome you to the third of the free seminars sponsored by the California Career Cafe. Today, our topic is going to be what's working for student success. I know we're all struggling in all of our colleges to implement the student success plans and certainly dedicated to seeing our students succeed. So today we have some interesting speakers joining us and focusing on what the colleges are doing successfully in the arena of student success. This is the third in the series of our webinars sponsored by the California Career Cafe and hosted by Irvine Valley College. I want to thank Rita Jones for all the work that she's done in organizing and bringing together our exciting speakers, and to Christina Friend, who is our administrative assistant on this project. We couldn't do it without both of you. And also to thank all of our visiting speakers. Thank you, and look forward to a great day. I'm going to turn it over to Christine, who's going to give you some information on the logistics of the webinar.
Thank you so much, Susan. As Susan said, I'm just going to take a moment to cover some technical details, and then we're going to get started. The entire webinar is being recorded and will be available for later viewing on the Career Briefs website, and the link will be provided at the end of the webinar. You all should see a control panel similar to the one on the screen on the right side of your computer monitor. If you don't see it, look for the double arrow small group of icons on the top right corner. Use the double arrow to expand the control panel out. And also, if you have any questions or comments during the webinar, I'm here to answer anything technical. I will respond to you as quickly as possible. If you have a question for Rita, Susan, or any of our presenters today, please feel free to send those questions throughout the webinar, and then at the appropriate time, we'll answer those questions. So I would like to, there's the chat box, by the way, the questions box. So now I'd like to go on and introduce Rita Jones, who really doesn't need an introduction, but we all know Rita and the great work she does for the Career Cafe. So Rita, I just want to hand things over to you.
Okay. Okay, show my screen, and let me get my screen up in full view. All right. Okay, welcome everyone. As Susan mentioned, this is the third in our spring webinar series, and I'm actually really excited about this topic today. We have lots, let me tell you, of good information to share with you. We're going to talk about some best practices. We'll look at how matriculation might need to be revisited on your campus, and I promise you will leave with some great ideas that you can implement immediately. So as far as the agenda goes, I'm going to define the acceptable uses in a very simple way as they relate to counseling services. We'll look at 3 promising programs across the state, a relatively newly funded Student Success Center in Sacramento, and also we'll talk a little bit about a new project that the Career Cafe team is working on. Now today is a packed agenda, and we may go over our 45-minute time allotment, maybe by 5 minutes or so. If you need to leave at any time, please know the webinars are all archived. You can see the careerbriefs.com website above. A few days after the webinar, we get them archived, and they're going to be located down here at the bottom where you see webinars. You can go to that section, and that's where you can find it. And the past webinars we've done this spring are all located there right now. Now, I'd like to start by taking a very brief look at a project published in 2014 called A Matter of Degrees, and it was put out by the Center for Community College Student Engagement. They conducted 3 years of research, and it was funded by Bill and Melinda Gates, by Lumina, and by the Carnegie Foundation. And I only have time today to really focus on their high impact practices, but it's going to be very relevant to the promising practices you're going to see in just a few minutes. Particularly, we're going to discuss learning communities, first-year experience courses, the importance of orientation, student success courses, those types of things. They found notable differences between students who participated in each practice and students who did not participate. Again, I don't have time to go over all this research or the numbers. That's not my purpose for today, but you can Google a matter of degrees and be able to read that report if you haven't seen it so far. Now, one very important disclaimer that I want to make. Please don't think that we have left you out of this discussion. I know how many of you have exceptional practices on your campuses and how hard you're working. The ones you'll hear about today simply came up several times to me as references when I ask about good student success programs, but more importantly, they were the people that actually called me back and were willing to show up today and share with all of us. So thank you to them, by the way. Now, this slide is not news to you. But if you want to be in compliance with the Student Success Act, these are acceptable uses of funds in the counseling arena. The orientation process, assessment, counseling, advising, and the ed plan. So let's take a look first at a promising practice at Long Beach City College. I think it does a great job of setting the foundation, particularly when an entire campus gets behind a particular initiative. You'll find this one also happens to be, I found it in the matter of degrees, written up there in that particular document, and it has a proven track record of increasing completion rates. So let's take a peek. I will mention that each of these programs that we're talking about today all have great websites. You can just look them up and find out even more in depth about them there. This happens to be the one for the Promise Pathways Initiative for Long Beach City College. So let's take a peek at their video. It's just a very short one.
Promise Pathways is really about redesigning the way we work with our students, helping them in the high schools, aligning our coursework, and then being very prescriptive once they get here so that we can get them on a path to success as soon as they enter our doors. Once we do that with our Long Beach Unified cohort, our plan is to scale it up to all of our students.
Since I started at Long Beach City College, I witnessed a lot of my fellow classmates having trouble getting their courses every semester. But now, with the Promise Pathways, they're going to be guaranteed classes that will help them earn their associate's degree or transfer quicker.
What excites me is that the students that are coming to Long Beach City College now have a direction that we at Long Beach City College are very concerned about our students. We want them to be successful. And it excites me that we're making an intentional effort. We're doing something on purpose to help our students to accomplish their goals, to finish their degrees or their certificates, whatever it is that they desire to do here at Long Beach City College, that we're now helping them to work toward that. And we're working together. We're integrating a lot of our programs and services that in the past have been dispersed across campus, and we're coming together, we're collaborating and working together to help our students to be successful.
The Promise Pathways is a new agenda at Long Beach City College designed to help more students complete a high-value college degree or certificate in less time. The Promise Pathways grew out of the Long Beach College Promise, a partnership between Long Beach Unified, Long Beach City, and Cal State Long Beach. It was designed by Long Beach City College faculty and staff to speed the completion of certificates, degrees, and successful transfer by local high school graduates. The Promise Pathways program transforms our student experience, changes systems, focuses our efforts, and integrates pathways for all students to enroll, progress, and complete their educational goals. Before the Promise Pathways, too many Long Beach Unified graduates began college in pre-collegiate coursework. More than 85% were placed in pre-collegiate courses in English, math, or reading each year. Many local students entered college without clear goals or direction. Those that did often struggled to get the classes they need. Others avoided the courses they should take. For our students, all of these factors combine to create significant delays in achieving their educational goals. For example, the median time to complete one of our 18-unit certificates is 4.5 years. But a larger concern, fewer than 1 in 4 students completes any of our major outcomes within 6 years of enrolling at Long Beach City College. Our college is committed to improving these statistics and will do so through the Promise Pathways. Building on the long-standing College Promise partnership, Long Beach Unified will encourage more of their high school students to complete rigorous senior English courses and additional years of math to improve college readiness in coming years. Our faculty has already begun working with Long Beach Unified faculty to more closely align coursework and exams with our expectations so that more students will graduate from high school ready to enter and succeed in college-level work. Working side by side with these changes, Long Beach City College is developing new assessment and placement models that will help hundreds more students enter college-level English and math courses immediately upon entry to Long Beach City College. Further, the Promise Pathways will ensure that all local graduates enroll in the appropriate math and English courses in their first semester and guarantee access to course sequences so that students embark on a path to their goal and stay on that path all the way through to completion. Taken together, the Promise Pathways will significantly increase the success of Long Beach Unified students beginning immediately in fall of 2012. Although the pathways will begin with Long Beach Unified students, it will not stop there. The lessons learned from this program will be applied in future years so that each and every student at Long Beach City College will benefit from this new direction for our college and for the entire community of Long Beach.
I think we need the Promise Pathways because we need to increase the number of our students that are successful and complete their certificates, degrees, and transfer. And this has been found at other schools, this kind of cohort group, to really help students be successful.
The Promise Pathways will help students transition from high school into college easily, get them on the right path, and get them to their goals.
It's like, it feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really get it right and just to change the way we do business, the way we educate as a college, not necessarily as an individual, but the trick is doing it collectively as a whole college.
All right, let's get back to where I need to be here. Anyway, the impressive parts for me are that this was scaled. They're planning on scaling this up to include all students, and their track record of increasing completion rates, which you're going to see quite a bit more about when I talk about a nationwide project at the very end of our webinar today. So I see that our next speaker is online. I'd like to introduce you to Dean Tom Mount. He's at Mount San Antonio College, and I so appreciate, Tom, you taking time from your busy day to be with us. What I'll do is if you just say next, I will go to the next slide, and if it's okay with you, I'll give you a 1-minute warning when the time is up. Are you available now? Are you there?
I'm available. Hi, Rita.
Great, Tom. Okay, you're on.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. One of the things that we're doing at Mount SAC is that we have probably 12 to 14,000 students, new students every year who go through orientation, and prior to Triple SP, we've always had mandatory orientation, so it's not new to us, but one of our struggles is getting students to come in more of a smooth process, making sure that they're taking their math and English and getting off to a good start, and also making sure they get their classes that first term. So we have a couple different projects that I'll share with you. One is called Connect 4, which starts with our outreach program. Actually, they all do. And the other one is our Summer Bridge program. And the last one is Step into College. And as the students are going through, our focus is to hit them early. Is on first-generation students and making sure they get through their basic skills. So if you look at what's on your screen there, we give students a couple different options. The Summer Bridge program they do have to apply for. As you can see, it's 6 weeks in length. And then the students have to choose either English or math sequence of courses to take. And it's basically 3 courses. It's, let's say, if they're in the English 68 course, they will also take a community course that is taught by all three professors, let's say the English professor, the counseling professor, or those two, I should say. And then there's a counseling course, a Counseling 1 course, which is just basically introduction to college. It runs for the 6 weeks. It's pretty much all day, Monday through Thursday. But what we have found with the students going through this program, that we've had anywhere from 80 to 100% success rates and pass rates in these classes. And of course, each of these also we have tutoring, peer mentoring, and other things to help engage the students and to help them stay on track. Because we have such large numbers, as I mentioned, that 12,000 to 14,000 students who come through, of that it's about 5,000 to 7,000 that come through in the summer. So we can't hit all those students. Bridge students, we're hitting 350 to 400 students. And the STEP program is anywhere from 115 to 200 students. So obviously we're missing out on a lot of students as well. So one of our big issues is how do we go to scale? How do we make this larger? And that's what we're currently working on. We have been doing Bridge now for close to 17 years. Step into College is what's new and what's kind of come more out of SSSP. And that's for many of those students we can't get into the Bridge program. They take a 2-week course, and it's an Introduction to College course, and only 1 unit, and again runs through Monday through Thursday. But we also make sure that they're getting on the right track. They get priority registration for the fall term, and we'll also have them maybe do some campus tours and do some other things on Fridays on that off day. If you want to go to the next slide.
Sure. Well, I threw in this one because I found it on your website and I thought it was great. Look at how happy those students look. I thought they've definitely found their inner hero, or whatever it was you called the name of the workshop. It's really very cool. Here's the slide.
Yeah. And so Connect 4 is kind of what brings it all together, and that's with our outreach staff. And so as they're out in the high schools, they're talking to students constantly about Connect 4, our Bridge program, STEP program, so that they're aware of it. They go out to the high schools, and as I mentioned, we have, I think, 46 feeder schools. So they hit all 46 feeder schools. They do application workshops at the site, and then they do assessment testing. We either bus the students onto campus, and they do their assessment testing here at Mount SAC. Where that is difficult, we will actually do the assessment testing at the high school. The next step is attending a new student orientation, which we are running now. I believe we have 45 Connect 4 orientations started this week, and we'll run that all the way through June. And that is, we hit closer to about 1,800 to 2,000 students. And all of these students will get priority registration if they come through this process through our high school outreach team. And again, the idea of that is to make sure they're getting off to the right start. One of the biggest complaints as a large college we hear is you can't get your classes. You know, we tell them to get in math and English, but they can't get into those. So this gives them priority registration. They register after the our first priority groups, veterans, DSPS, and such, so they're able to get into their English and math classes. The other nice thing about this is with the orientations is that everyone comes out with a completed educational plan as well. So again, we're hitting our orientation, assessment, and ed plans in terms of SSSP. So all students who go through these programs come out with a completed educational plan, and all come out with priority registration. So obviously we're not hitting the large numbers that we would like, and so again, that's one of our kind of constant battles is how do we go to scale on this.
Right. I understand, Tom, but I think the important piece for all of us is to realize is to get a program that's functioning as well as what you have created, you know, and then it's more easy to take it to scale. You know, we've really got to get it right first, and from what I hear, you guys are doing a fabulous job with these programs. So thank you so much for sharing that. You know, there probably are going to be some questions which we're going to have to hold till the end, and I know you need to get back to what you were taking part in today. So if appropriate, I may be asking you some questions later about that. But thank you so much for taking the time.
If I can come back in, I have to just run off, but if I can, I will try to get back on if that's possible. Should I text you or something if I can?
You just come back on. Don't worry about it. It's really easy. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Tom. Thanks so much. Bye. All right. Now the next, another busy lady that I so appreciate her sharing the first year experience program at El Camino College. I'd like to introduce Dr. Cynthia Mosqueda. She is the faculty coordinator at El Camino College. So Cynthia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. It's all yours.
Okay. I decided to highlight two programs in particular that I think are really making a change for students in terms of helping them progress towards their academic goals. So the first program I want to talk about is our Summer Math Academy. So what that is it allows students an opportunity to be part of a 3-week intensive review, and when they're working specifically with a math instructor, the math instructor is paired up with a counselor, so they're getting a lot of the student success type of strategies and orientation. At the end of the 3 weeks, our students will then be allowed to retake our math assessment. As all of us know who work with students every single day, we have many students who take our math placement assessment and they don't prepare ahead of time. And because of that, sometimes we have students who are placed in inappropriate courses. So our Summer Math Academy is not a course where a student can earn units. Instead, it's a review session. It's completely free to any student who wants to participate. And we offer it at multiple levels. We offer it for the student who scored into our beginning arithmetic level, as well as pre-algebra, elementary, and we've actually just added pre-calculus as well. So at the end, the students are then assessed again, and the chart that I provided actually shows some research that we just conducted this past year, where 371 students participated in the program, and out of those, at least half of all students improved their placement scores. Some cases maybe by 1 level, but I've actually seen a student go from arithmetic all the way into our elementary algebra, saving the students, anywhere between 3 to 4 semesters of math. We then, the chart that you're viewing, we then look to see, how many of our students then progressed into the next math course. So in the middle slide, which is in purple, it says 68% of our students then continued on to the next math course. So this is really saving our students the time that they need to get into a transferable math class. And in the end, helping our students achieve their goal of transfer or earning a degree. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. If anybody's interested in more information, we have the full report on the El Camino College website of how the program is being set up. It's also currently funded through Title V funds, and we even received some additional funding through Chevron. El Camino College is very close to a lot of engineering companies, and so Chevron actually funded some of the Summer Math Academies. We offer about 5 different sections of this, and students do need to attend an info session ahead of time if they want to be part of this program. So let me go on to the next slide, if that's okay. Okay, this is the program that I coordinate on the campus, the First Year Experience Program. We've been on campus since we started the program in 2000 through a Title V grant. And our program has been pretty successful in the state. We've received numerous awards, and we've actually helped close to 23 other campuses in the state start an FYU program. And our program has multiple components. We offer learning communities, of course. We offer orientation. But one of the things that we're doing now that I think is really helping students be successful is we started to offer accelerated cohorts for students who come to El Camino College and they assess at our lowest level in reading and writing, which on our campus is English B, in English 82. So we are offering accelerated cohorts so that a student could ideally be eligible for English 1A within one semester. And we're having a lot of success with our program. We piloted it for about 3.5 years, and so now we have to wait out before we can get it approved through the Chancellor's Office. And again, that report is on our El Camino College Institutional Research website, which shows that the success rates, the persistence rates for our students, and more importantly, the course progression of how quickly students were able to get into our college-level English class with just 1 year. Now, of course, there's added support. We have a supplemental instruction coach that is part of that helps the students out and works closely with the professor as well. But we are seeing some, really great numbers, and this is a program that we hope to continue on for the future. Okay, I'll go ahead and transition to the next slide. Okay, I know this slide's a little bit difficult to see, so I apologize for that. So this is another program that FYE helped to pilot. BAM stands for Basic Accelerated Math Program, and this is not something that El Camino created. We actually attended the RP conference several years ago, and this was actually started by a community college up north, but we have since adopted it at El Camino, where students now at El Camino have an opportunity when they take our math placement exam to go through the traditional pathway in terms of math course sequences for STEM students, and then we have a new pathway for non-STEM students, because we know that many of our students who come to the community college really just need a transferable math class, and in most cases, for a lot of our students, that's statistics. And so how BAM works is that a student who scores into our arithmetic class, which is basically our lowest level at the college, can enroll in this BAM class, and it's based on multiple modules that the student has to complete and the student has to assess. But if the student is proficient in enough of the modules, they will earn enough, not credits, but they'll pass enough of the lessons that will make them eligible for our next math class, which is on our campus is called Math 67, and then ideally get into a transferable math class. So I have seen students who enroll in BAM who scored into our Math 12, which is arithmetic, and after taking this, they can actually advance to 3 to 4 levels of math. So BAM is really just, it's a starting point, but it allows students to go as far as they want to go. We also have a supplemental instruction that's embedded into the course. For those of you who are not familiar with supplemental instruction, it's basically we hire a student who's proficient in arithmetic, algebra, whatever subject we're teaching, and then they work closely with the students to offer review sessions before the class, after the class, and in some places during the actual class time. And so we're seeing a lot of success. We're seeing that students are getting into the next level course that they need at a higher rate than students who did not participate in BAM. And if you're interested in our BAM program, again, I'm going to refer you back to the institutional research website. Irene Graff, who's our director of institutional research, just published and posted 2 of the recent BAM studies that show the success of the program and how it's working to really help students get into transferable math classes. And I think that's it.
Okay, great. Well, you've taken head on this this whole area that's such a leveler for so many students, the math and the English, ability to get beyond that. That's great. Very impressive, Cynthia. Great. Thank you.
And thank you.
And as I say, we might have questions at the end. So, but I also found you at El Camino had a great website. Just put in Google El Camino College first year experience, and the website will come up, and you can find lots more information about it there. So, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. So there are lots of big changes ahead, as we'll see. In many ways, I hope there are even more changes coming. These last 10 years, we have made significant strides in improving outcomes for our students, and many colleges are doing very valuable work, but rarely at the scale needed for the really substantial kind of improvement that we need. Now, which is why I've asked Dr. Paul Steenhausen, and I see he's not on the call yet. Is that correct, Christine?
Sorry, Rita. Yes, that's correct. He's not on yet.
Well, it looks like he's not, so I may skip it. Okay, so when he comes on, if you'll just let me know, and I'll switch back over to turn it over to him.
Sounds good.
So I'll tell you a little bit more. I've asked Dr. Paul Steenhausen to join us. He's the executive director of the new Student Success Center for the California Community Colleges, and he can tell you what that means and what lies ahead. I know he has some challenges today because he had to be at one of the campuses attending another meeting, so he may be having trouble finding a quiet space to be able to join us. But let me go ahead and I will skip his slides. We'll come back to that. And we'll get a little more personal then for a few minutes while we're waiting for him. At last fall's professional development workshop, we heard much frustration voiced by those that were in attendance, and we took it to heart, hoping that perhaps some of our grant funds could be used to find some new potential solutions to some of the challenges we know that you all are facing. So both Dr. Steenhausen and then Kevin Fleming, who was our keynote speaker last fall, suggested that we take a look at the Complete College America program, and the 4-year myth specifically is a publication that they have done. So what I'd like to do is share that with you. You can Google it. It's a very interesting read. Just put in 4-year myth and this will come up. I'll share with you a couple of pages from the report, and what's interesting to me is it looks like Long Beach City College is very much aligned with this because of the way they were speaking, and you'll hear it over and over again about some of these obstacles that are getting in our students' way and why they're struggling so much. I don't have time to go into detail about the whole thing, so I'm just going to touch on a few of the highlights. Remember, this is a nationwide organization. There's a tremendous number of states that are already taking it on as a statewide initiative, and a large number of very impressive colleges that have gotten very impressive results increasing their students' college completion. Interesting fact that in the last 20 years, more than 31 million students have gone off to college but never earned a degree. Now, you'll see up here in the top, this is much what Cynthia was talking about and what Tom was talking about. 70% of our community college students have not even attempted a college-level math class within 2 years. Now, 50% of our community college students begin college needing remediation, which 50% of them, but only 1 in 10 of the remedial students ever graduate. Students are overwhelmed by choosing a direction, and they make uninformed choices. You all know how I feel about that. And then it takes 5 and 6 years. That's the plan to graduate, and that's the norm. And there's lots of excessive units taken at a cost of time and money. Again, just some interesting, I like their graphics, I like the way they've shown a lot of this data that they've collected and the research that they've done. So what Complete College America has done is they've developed a GPS system called a guided pathway system. And I personally really think the combination of services that result in completion rates doubling in many educational institutions across America is impressive. So I'm going to tell you briefly the 6 main components that make sense to me about why they are really overcoming some of these challenges and obstacles that our students face and why the rates have been what they are. The first piece, and this is really important, undeclared students enter college and select from a broad cluster of majors, things like STEM, social science, business, education, or liberal arts. And then as a student progresses along their way and get further into their education, then it becomes more specific, not in the very beginning. Now the second thing that I think has really helped is math is aligned to their major. And Cynthia made reference to that. In fact, they have non-STEM and STEM, kind of majors and how the math relates to that. And we found that they're more likely to succeed because it's relevant. Now, the third one is the academic maps. Students choose coherent programs. They're not choosing individual courses like they are currently doing. So necessary credits and course sequences are laid out for them ahead of time, and they can see where they're going and what they need to take. Now, after choosing a major, these academic maps then are their default schedule. Now, they can still explore outside of that default schedule that they have, but it replaces all that aimless wandering that so many of our students do, just taking random courses here and there. Another really important piece is there are critical courses that must be completed in sequence each semester to certify that students are on track. It lets the students know about the prospect for success in a field of study, and if it's not appropriate for them, if they're not able to get through those kind of key courses, then they actually start again and find another path. And then lastly, and this again is very important for all of us, the supports for the students can be targeted and customized for individual students. Early warning systems make it possible to track performance and target interventions. Let me check here and see how we're doing. I know Paul's having issues getting on, but it looks like maybe he's made it. Is that true? Okay, great, Paul. Let me finish my thought here, and then we'll turn it over to you, okay?
Oh, of course.
I'll be right with you, okay. So we're looking at how we can make some inroads to creating tools or programs that incorporate what we know has a proven success track record, given the realities of our funding and individual college governance. So I'll go back then and turn it over to Paul. I'll tell you a little bit more about what the cafe has planned after he gets a chance to chat with you. Let me get back where we need to. Okay, as I mentioned, Paul, let me get my notes here back where they need to be. We so appreciate you getting here. I'm glad you got over whatever obstacle you had to do. Paul is the Executive Director of the new Student Success Center for the California Community Colleges. And Paul, why don't you share with them a little bit about the Student Success Center and what lies ahead for all of us. Thank you. It's all yours, and just tell me next, and then I'll go to the next slide.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rita, and thank you to everybody for having me on this webinar. Yes, I had experienced some Wi-Fi issues, but
yes,
problem is solved.
Okay.
So I am Paul Steenhausen, Executive Director of the Success Center for California Community Colleges. The Success Center was just launched in August 2014, and it's funded in large part by a 2-year grant from the Kresge Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization based in Michigan. And this is something that the California Community College Chancellor's Office and the Foundation for California Community Colleges, which is the official auxiliary to the Chancellor's Office, went out and won. It was a competitive grant. Kresge Foundation was funding some success centers. There are 24 applications from 24 states. California was one of them, along with Connecticut and New Jersey that got selected. And so California, New Jersey, and Connecticut join 4 other states that have success centers. So the Success Center is administered by the Foundation for California Community Colleges. It's a unique arrangement, really. I'm officially a Foundation employee, but yet I really feel in a Foundation employee and a Chancellor's Office employee. I serve as a member of the State Chancellor Bryce Harris's executive team. I am on, I have community college email address, which I will give all of you at the end of this webinar. I get emails from both the Foundation and the Chancellor's Office about baby showers and leftover food in the break room and that sort of thing. So I really am tightly integrated into both. The Success Center is guided by an 11-member advisory board. It includes a number of community college organizations, as well as 2 outside organizations, the Department of Finance, which is the governor's Chief Business Fiscal Advisor, and the Legislative Analyst Office, my old employer, which provides nonpartisan fiscal and policy advice to the legislature. Next slide, please. So, our mission. The purpose of the Success Center is simple, really. It's to help the California Community College system continue to implement the Student Success Task Force recommendations and continue to improve on student outcomes. So the Student Success Task Force recommendations met throughout 2011. In 2012, the Board of Governors, the State Board of Governors, unanimously approved those 22 recommendations. And since that time, those recommendations have become really the guiding policy framework for the state in improving outcomes. So there's a lot in that task force report. There's a lot on student support services, of course. You all know about enrollment priority, statewide enrollment priority recommendation, which has been implemented, and getting students to declare a program, a course of study within 15 units. Actually, a lot of the things Rita was just talking about with GPS, getting students on a pathway, and a clear pathway so that they can complete in a timely manner. The task force report talked quite a bit about the need for professional development to actually implement all of these recommendations and all of these changes. And so that's really where the Success Center is focusing its efforts. The objective is to improve learning outcomes for faculty, staff, administrators, and trustees so that they have better access to effective practices throughout the state and also the country. Right now, you have faculty, staff, administrators, and trustees that know an awful lot of what's going on their own campus, or maybe within their district if it's a multi-college district, but oftentimes don't know very much about what other colleges are doing, even in the same region. And there really is a lot of great innovations going on throughout the system in a variety of areas. And we just want to improve the ability of these campuses and college personnel to access that information, access those best practices, and put them into place. So we really want college personnel to continue to grow, get better at what they do, learn from each other, and impact students' lives in an even better way. So our vision really is for community colleges to have the best system of professional development and peer collaboration in the country. Next slide, please. To that end, the Success Center is working on a major project right now. There are a number of strategic initiatives we're working on. The biggest one really, with potentially the biggest impact, is the creation of an online professional development clearinghouse or portal. This idea came about from a Student Success Initiative Professional Development Committee in 2013. That committee met as a result of the Student Success Task Force recommendations around improving continuum of professional development opportunities throughout the state, and also that recommendation, the Student Success Task Force, about using technology more to the advantage to really leverage that technology throughout the state. So the vision is a one-stop shop of professional development resources with videos and webinars and a number of other features. It's a project that we're working on with the Academic Senate, the California Community College Success Network, or 3CSN, the Telecommunications and Technology Infrastructure Program, TTIP South, which is run out of Palomar College, and a number of other program partners. Next slide, please. So what's this portal going to do anyway, and how is it going to help faculty, staff, administrators, and trustees? Well, one feature will be showcasing local success stories and really inspiring all of us in watching those and learning about those stories, learning about what colleges are doing throughout the state to improve student outcomes. Another feature is online trainings and eventually courses. So it'll have those videos, but also webinars. Perhaps this webinar someday will be on that. White papers, podcasts. There's a lot of potential for content. Also, a really neat feature is going to be an opportunity for staff to create a personalized professional development plan, kind of like what students do with their education plan and degree audit. You know, all of us have areas where we feel like we're pretty competent, and other areas where we want to keep improving, where we have gaps or just want to get better and better at what we do, you know, throughout the course of our career. So this is an opportunity where those personnel can log into this website and establish a professional development plan, what they actually want to work on, and then as they complete those activities and acquire those competencies, to sort of check them off, and maybe even have some sort of digital badging or credentialing system. Another feature is a chat function, so that faculty, staff, administrators, others can communicate with each other, can access each other, get chat rooms going, get discussions going, and collaborate together. And also, you know, so you have a virtual support hub, and that can be very helpful. But a lot of times, you know, nothing beats having actually somebody contact you directly, or even coming out to your college, or telling you about a workshop that might be going on in your neighborhood. And so we want this portal to have a point of access, so that those users can request additional help and additional information. Next slide, please. In fall of 2014, the Success Center and a number of program partners, a lot of the ones I mentioned earlier, hosted a series of regional workshops on portal, the functions of the portal, and what they'd like to see in terms of topics and issues. So you can see some of the ones here. Models of partnerships with high schools, you're reaching out to those high schools, getting those high school students familiar with the college, with the community college, and with the process of registering and getting financial aid, and then even starting to think about what their interests are and their major might be. Effective instructional practices, effective counseling practices would be another one. We've gotten a lot of feedback on, you know, what are some of the model student equity plans out there? What are some of the colleges doing that others can learn from? And there's some other topics as well that you know, we think would fit really nicely into this portal. And just kind of a heads up, look for in the next few weeks, we're going to have a webinar throughout the state that's going to allow folks to give their input on what kind of topics and issues they'd like to see covered in this portal. Next slide, please. So the clearinghouse will be open to all. There will be a login if you want to have you know, a personalized experience, but anyone can access it. There is an Institutional Effectiveness Partnership Initiative, which is also new. It's funded in the current year. It's ongoing money that the state provided to the California community colleges, with the idea of improving student outcomes, reducing accreditation sanctions, and other issues at colleges. And that partnership initiative, which is a joint venture of the Chancellor's Office and College of the Canyons, is planning to use the clearinghouse as a tool to help colleges and their staff improve on what they do. So as far as timing, we're looking to beta test the clearinghouse project by summertime. We want to have rollout by fall. And then we're just going to keep adding material as we go. We're going to pull initially from existing materials, as I said, like videos, webinars, some helpful conference materials, and then develop new content using state dollars as well as money from the Kresge Foundation and some other private dollars I'm able to draw down. So the point is really going to be to highlight what's working so that all of us can do our jobs better and serve students even better. And then the next slide just gives you my contact.
Great, Paul. Boy, I can really speak to the importance of gathering up some best practices. I learned it very much at this particular webinar, just out there trying to find who's doing. I know so many colleges are doing wonderful programs, but it's really hard to find them and hear about them. So.
Oh yeah, it takes a lot of time. You know, we want to reduce access costs, really, or information costs. You know, the time it takes to get this kind of information. It really is cumbersome. And so we want to make it easier for people to get this information, get it out to people, share it, collaborate on it, and then pair it up with all the conferences we do, the workshops, and as I said, connect it with Institutional Effectiveness Partnership Initiative. That has dollars in it for actual site visits, on-campus site visits. So there's an opportunity to provide effective practices in a number of different ways, and this portal is one of those key ways to really get it out to 112 colleges.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I'm really glad you could work through the wireless issues and make it. So thank you so much, Paul. We'll be in touch.
Okay, excellent. Okay,
and again, if you have questions for Paul, here is his email. You also, I'm going to be finished in just a couple of minutes. I'm happy to stay on for any questions you have, and I'll make sure to, if I don't know the answer to them, we'll get you the answer. And I also have something I want to ask all of those that are on the webinar about. So we'll move on to the end. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, of course. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, so let's back to talking a little bit then. You've heard a lot in this 45 minutes together about different programs that are going on, and I'm really happy there's such good, strong research that's been done that can really show us what's working and what's really having an impact on the student completion. So for our purposes, for the Career Cafe, we are planning to focus on our undecided or undeclared students and follow many of the guidelines that you've heard about today to get students on a pathway so that they can complete. We've asked our dear friend Kate Brooks, who I know many of you remember from past trainings, to help us develop this module or program, whatever it's going to be. And we're really looking for campuses that will want to integrate this tool into their orientation process, almost like a beta testing like Paul's doing with his work, just to people that want to be involved in the beginning of this particular project. So stay tuned. All of you know how to reach Susan and myself, so we're very excited about the possibilities ahead for this. Again, a brief reminder that in a few days the webinar will be uploaded to the California Career Briefs website in the webinar section, which is right there at the bottom right. And again, I'd love to hear from you with your ideas or questions. My email address is rjones@occ.cccd.edu, and I'd love to open it up for anyone that's able to stay and has any sharing they'd like to do, a great program you'd like to share, or any questions you may have. We'll give you a few minutes for that. And thank you for your patience today. We're so pleased that you joined us. Christine, do we have anything yet of anyone that has a question or wants to share?
We had a question earlier from, let me see here, Margaret, I believe, and it was for, I believe it was for Tom. He was talking about priority registration, and she wanted to know when is that priority registration compared to the students who are currently enrolled. And I don't know if Tom's here or not. Tom, are you there? Yeah, I guess he's not there. That's one that we can send to Tom and ask him to answer for us.
Any other questions at all for any of our people that shared today? Or anyone that has anything else that they'd like to ask about the student success or the projects that are coming?
I don't see anything, Rita.
Okay. All right, well, I'll let you finish up then, Christine. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us.
And as Rita mentioned, this webinar was recorded, and we will be posting it in the next couple of days on the Career Briefs website under free resources. So I'd just like to say thank you to Rita and to Susan and to all of our presenters, and thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Bye.